And those are coming for this
Whoa. Okay, folks, you are the best audience I've ever had in all my years of performing. You quieted down in like 2.3 milliseconds. I didn't even need to ask. I didn't even need to do the teacher stare. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. Don't wait for me. Don't wait for me. Yeah, no, you guys are amazing. Welcome, everyone. Holy crow. To the Poetry Floodlight series. This is our third session. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. My heart is filled, as it always is, whenever we do one of these, seeing your faces, helping us come and support poets around the world, around Canada, around our space. As with every session, as with every series, before we even get started into the flow of this, into the jam, we do acknowledge where we are, where our space is, that it would be impossible to speak our words, to say our mind, to have a heart at all without the people who are here first, without the Kakite people. We are on their traditional territories, we are in their space. Let's acknowledge that, let's give to them, help lift them up with this. This is a story of Indigenous joy, not Indigenous sorrow. And so, going forward, speak with fire. I promise you won't burn. My name is Ben Pilger. I am one of the curators here at the gallery, along with Michelle, who is so wonderful for having us into the space. Yes, I am going to embarrass you and have everyone clap for you again. They did it without even me asking them to. Hey-o, hey-o. It would be impossible to have this space without Michelle. We, as the Poetry Floodlight series, have gotten started because there has been a mass closing of artistic art spaces through Vancouver. We hear and we mourn Café de Soleil. We mourn Red Gate in its previous incarnation. We mourn them here and we celebrate the new. Now, as for poetry etiquette, for those of you who have not been regular poets, first, welcome. Oh my gosh, don't even worry. We don't mean to scare you off. We don't mean to frighten you. But claps are a frightening noise. Loud and concussive, explosive, combustible even, if you go fast enough. We encourage, if you love what's being said, give us a snap. Doesn't have to be a loud snap. I just have big hands. These snaps come at any point in time during a speech. If you hear a word that resonates, snap. Now, I'm going to warm us up a little bit, warm those snapping fingers up. I myself am a third-rate poet, half-baked man and full-baked child inside. Woo, yeah, you got snapping fingers done. And so the poems I offer you today are going to be a bit of a communion between us. I'm not a religious person, but I believe this to be a spiritual space. So, what we make together. I'm a teacher in the New West District. I'm an artist of this sort. And I'm a walking, talking ham on stage. So, with what I give you, with what I offer you. Help me out with our first poem. My name is Ben. Can I get a place anywhere in the world, or outside of it, from our audience? Any place, just scream it out at me.
Africa.
Africa.
Middle Earth.
Ooh, go with the first one. Middle Earth is fun, but we're gonna go with the first one, Africa. Can I get a job? Any job, could be an imaginary job. Ooh,
Mortician.
a mortician. This is gonna be a sexy one. Okay. Can I get a relationship? Can be any relationship between two people.
Situationship.
Ooh, I actually need a definition. What's a situationship?
You never planned for it, but the situation arose.
All right, we'll go with that. Okay, I need something that's gone wrong. Some conflict that's approached us.
The situation.
Okay. I'll file it. And now, this is the best part of this kind of poem with us, friends. How does it end? Tell me how it ends.
With a dot.
One more time.
With a dot.
A dot.
You know when you arrive? Dot.
Oh. Period. Okay. All right. Give me a countdown of 3, 2, 1. And here we go.
3,
2, 1. On a great savanna, I found myself going down the highway. The sun in the sky reminded me of Lion King because I'm not that imaginative. I went down through that savanna, looking all the world for someone in a situationships that I don't quite understand. Me and my companion there, sitting in our car seats. I stare at her, she stares at me. 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 Period. Thank you. See, poetry is easy. There's nothing to be afraid of. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. Before I turn the mic over to our first poet of the night, our first expressionist, our first fire spitter, I have exciting news about the Poetry Floodlight series. Here we go. Our exciting news is as such. At the end of tonight, at the end of our poets list, we have a bit of a change up. We want to give the mic to you, right? Oh, that energy in the room. The tightening sphincters, the chain shackling you down. Do not worry. This is a space for you, for your poets. Everyone here is to support you in whatever you do. No mess up too great. No mess up too small. Get up here and fail. At the end of our night, when all of our set list poets have gone, this mic is free. For the next half an hour after everybody is gone, this mic is free. For music, for expression, for rapping if you rap. This is your mic. So, all the poets are going. If you get a touch of bravery, if you contract it like the flu, feel free to get up here and do what you do. Welcome, one and all, to the Poetry Floodlight series, session 3. And with that being said, put your fingers together for our first poet. Sayer, let's get you up. Shot? What shot?
Probably just in there.
What shot?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I've never used one of these before. This is fun. So my name is Sayer, and I'm really happy to be here with you all today. So I'm starting off first here with my first poem called Residential World. And I reside on the Kwantlen and Katzie First Nations people in Maple Ridge. And I'm actually part of the Coast Salish people up in the Fraser Valley. My band's in Chilliwack specifically. And so this poem is about generational trauma and my experience and possibly a lot of other people's experience with that. So it's a heavy topic, and to be honest, a lot of my poetry is. So I hope you all enjoy. Out in the prairies, where they carried you far away into a slave cage mind of white supremacy, mentally, helplessly stripped naked of identity, generationally, this historic genocide is in my hindsight. It might be over to you, or even educational. However, this generational trauma rolls down a hill like a snowball. The alcohol that once stained you now stains me. They burned the TP of knowledge and spirituality, left into a community without a place in your old world and this new one. Now I've become taken of my own culture. So, like a vulture, I will try and pick away at the dead remains of what is left. What is next? You were never nurtured, so how do you expect to nurture me? I'm still in disbelief that Indigenous children are less than 8% of the population in Canada, yet they've managed a 52% makeup of Indigenous children in the welfare system. My own mother couldn't resist them because of this broken subsystem that will not change. So, feel this pain, because we had to for hundreds of years. And cried many tears, but I'll keep saying this truth for the whole world to hear. Thank you. All right, so, I'm a little shaky, my apologies.
We got you!
So this next poem is called The Way the Words Dance. And now this one is about how people often say things, but their actions don't quite align with so. And I think, with this one, I think a lot of people can relate with this, with a lot of relationships where people make promises, but that just doesn't end up aligning quite with what they say. So that's basically what this one's about. Words roll easily off the tongue, but I have grown numb to the false promises all these words keep endorsing. It's remorsing that they'll follow the same footsteps as yesterday's disparities. But I guess, maybe, it seems that I put too much faith in the letters' motions, hoping they will move and dance to a new song, one that prolongs the possibility of existence of a greater, better tomorrow. However, they remain empty like the bottle you seem to keep reaching for, always trying to pour more to fill tired lies once also spoken to you. If you only knew how thirsty I am for change, ever since you became a victim of the word's abuse, of their faulty misuse, which people often tend to use when they are blinded to believe it's better this way. To let the words mishate and behave simply just the same, but all it'll ever do through the words, maneuvers, and its misconstrues is it'll continue to hurt me just the more it's going to continue to hurt you. Thank you. So, now this next poem is actually, I wrote this one a little while ago now, but this one was kind of the start of my recovery journey that I once was on for quite a while and still on about my personal story with a past eating disorder. And now this poem definitely is one I've been able to look past on and really reflect a lot about how my relationship with food was really connected to the way my relationship with my life was. And this poem really is very personal to me especially, and I think whether it be food or other addictions in life, I think this poem really can speak to a lot of people about how we often will restrict ourselves at things we love and enjoy because we don't think we deserve it. So that's for those people out there. My relationship with food isn't too far removed from the restriction I've depicted upon myself. See, up on this shelf of helpless obsessions I'll never get up for seconds, and sure as hell won't mention that I want more. More than I've ever been served before, and I'll somehow adore only just allowing the scraps. Falling back to a relapse of leftovers because I become distressed over not being worthy of the main course being made throughout my life. So, I'll be sufficed with eating only half of what's been given and throw out the rest. In addition to never letting myself expand beyond my confided choices. These voices have so easily hidden. I am trapped in this forbidden state of comfort. But man, do I want to add the sweet, sweet dessert of opportunity back onto my menu, but I've gotten so far removed from any new kind of recipe. It's although it seems I'm never quite satisfied with this taste of constraint, yet I seem to continue in this cycle of bittersweet restraint. Thank you. So this next poem is a bit more metaphorical, and like I said, I am an Indigenous person, and I like to make a lot of my poetry connecting to nature, and a lot of metaphors I kind of actually have learned from other stories from members of my community. So this one is called Willow Tree, and how I see a willow tree kind of representing in my life, and just how my personal willow tree, I grew up in the same house for over 20 years, and this willow tree has always been there through thick and thin with me. So me and my willow tree, we're like best buddies at this point, you know. So this poem is basically about the things, the shit that me and this willow tree have been through. So that's what this poem is about. We grew up through the ashes that made flashes of a childhood I wanted to burn. But in turn, we watched as the stained wood got eaten by the flames, quickly putting us both into adulthood. So I never understood just how you manage still to stand next to me. Willow tree, both surprised to look at each other amongst this hot summer breeze. We talk of the fire, how it burned, yet made us freeze. Even though it scared us, we still stand, planted in the soil, here upon our 2 feet. Now we look untouched, healed through the eyes that look at us, but we'll still discuss this charcoaled bark that remains, and the pieces that have yet still decayed. They don't know that there are parts of us that won't grow back quite the same. With that being said, we still manage to remain as we can still be until the next disaster hits, and you and I will sway away and downplay these engulfing flames. Thank you. This is a lot more fun when you get up here, you're like, ooh, this is so scary. so this one is one I wrote not too long ago, actually. And this one speaks to feeling confused about my identity and where I fall when it comes to my culture, and also feeling like I've never quite been able to fit in to one world and another one's world too. Always feeling stuck in this weird middle line, and I took a walk when it was like snowing, and I just decided to like sit in the middle of a forest, which is like kind of dangerous, so don't recommend doing that. But, you know, mental clarity, I guess. They say self-care walks, okay. But yeah, so I literally just sat there, and I was thinking of this poem called White Grass, and just about how it feels to walk in a world where you're trying to figure out where you fall in it. So that's what this poem's about.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly in my hand, but don't mind me. I have hand sanitizer, it's fine. I am a man that has forgotten their way on this earth, too busy trying to figure out how to walk on top of it instead of a part of it. It seems that each room I enter remains empty no matter the amount of things residing in it. So, like a bird, I'll try and settle by making a nest between the white grass, frosted and coated. I'll gather pieces of the earth that will build me shelter and safety like no other. My body will seep between the trunks of a western hemlock instead of crumbling beneath him. I have taken apart the plants and flowers, searching for answers inside the stem of dandelion and the subtle hue of a buttercup, to only then realize that I too grow alongside them, not above. See, we all try to rip apart our world and attempt to discover where we belong inside it. But what if we simply just looked within it? What if we sought the answers we seek through the eyes of the world's teachers and put our trust in their guidance? What if we put our trust into something slightly more than us? What if we let our home here teach us how to find it? Okay, so this one, as I've said, some of my poetry can be a little bit heavy, so feel free if you need to like breathe, because God knows I do. But this one, definitely relating back to mental health. I've always had my own personal struggles with depression, and this poem kind of reflects about suicide and those types of topics. So if that's a little bit touchy for some people, you know, take a step for sure. But this poem really reflects about, you know, having these thoughts, going through these things, and then, you know, walking the next day like everything's fine. You know, you're going about your day and everything's back to normal, but for you, on the inside, it isn't, and what that feels like. So that's what this poem is called. It is called The Day After. The day after I tried to kill myself, I felt my body freed as I unwind from the blankets, crawled out of bed into the early numb of the morning frost. The day after I tried to kill myself, I tapped the glass over glass mug while I spent the waking hours nestled inside a burning dark roast. Felt the fire ignite and coast within my veins. The day after I tried to kill myself, I came through the afternoon like a piece of driftwood lost along a sea of logs, through the crackle aisle of a grocery store, hoping I'd find something more than what was on my list. The day after I tried to kill myself, I ticked away at the clock that kept my sanity at bay, sitting at the dining room table, finding purpose at the bottom of an empty bowl. The day after I tried to kill myself, I told those I loved, close to me but pushed them away farther as I casted away into the night sky. More full of light than the daylight can offer. The day after I tried to kill myself, I found myself smaller, staring into the dark walls around me until my eyes closed for the first time without me having to glue them shut. The day after I tried to kill myself, I worked to understand and find a way to spell out how this all makes sense. Because the day after I tried to kill myself, I promise I'd never do it again. Thank you. Now, ironically, this next one is called The Death of Me. Fun. So actually, I'm currently working on a book, and that's the title of it. And it kind of talks about my recovery journey, as I mentioned, through my eating disorder. And now this is called, it's turning over a new leaf, basically. It's getting rid of this past person I once was and figuring out who I am now beyond my mental illness, beyond those past things I've once had, and having a little funeral for that. So, welcome to my family. No, I'm kidding. The Death of Me. I'm holding a funeral, a communal gathering to let go, for I have now outgrown these old skin and bones. I know you're scared that I'll rot away under the tombstone, but I will dispose like compost and finally fade into this earth. Don't worry too much, because now it's my chance to get what I deserve. Don't preserve those dead parts of me. You might have thought they were great, but like these bugs, it ate me away. Picking at my flesh, it's about time I click the button and refresh what I once saw as a means of success. Yes. And break out of this oppressed cage I have been foreclosed in. I will swim until I drown myself so I can finally break out of this hell people preach to be happiness. I apologize that I now forever dismiss this way of living. I am forgiving the ugly spots, marks, and scars I once hid away. I can no longer stay, at least this way, and pretend to be alive, when really all I had wanted to do was die. Don't cry over me too hard, for that person was once scarred by a society that was disgusted within varieties of beauty. You may now, sadly, see me cruelly, but this world will no longer outfool me, because I will be more than just a soul who can no longer catch their breath. So, raise a glass and cheers to the death of me. So, thank you. This next one is called Sunshine. And so when I first started getting back in touch with my Indigenous culture after not really being a part of that for many, many years, I went to one of the elders in my community, and I kind of asked him, like, what, how do you feel part? What makes you feel whole, and how do I get involved? He said, look at the sun, feel the sun. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like looking up at the clouds, like, okay, am I feeling my Indigenous now? And he was like, no, you gotta feel it. And he told me this story about the sun and how it blessed this village of people. And after hearing it, it really stuck with me. And so I asked him if I could make it into a poem. He was like, oh, of course you can. Of course. He was like, you storyteller, get out there. And I'm like, thanks, Ed. I appreciate it. Yeah. So this is my poetry version of his story and the sun, just, so you know, represents different things in different indigenous spaces. So this is just kind of what it meant in my little community, so. Yeah. Sunshine. It imprints below. After years of feeling chilled to the bone through places of isolation, of hard rocks and caves, its eyes gleamed balls of fire, causing greater, brighter days. With rays of warmth and healing, she had learned to dance again. Even amongst her greatest despairs, this great ball of fire shone down on every woman and every man. For the ancestors had blessed her, all the people, all surrounded, entering their lives, leaving them feeling more grounded. And now it's easy to forget this cascading power which the sun can hold. But the women found how it can turn any whole part into one made of gold. Thank you. That was happy, right? Yeah. I'm not all sad. Okay, and so this is my last poem. And now this one, I really, really like. It's very Shulaki because it's called endeavour, which in Ojibwe means cloud. So I was literally just sitting and looking at clouds, not past people. But it made me think about how much I wish to be this damn cloud. And so this poem is about me wanting to be a cloud. So enjoy. Yes.
Oh, yes.
I hope one day to be as a cloud, to exist here just as they do exactly today, comfortable within a current state and form of being, existing on this current state of the earth. Here on Turtle Island, to be a cloud means you must be willing to adapt to the extreme changes, the unpredictable forces that may and will occur. To be able to keep this contentment of self and yet allow at the same time for change and movement as the wind advises. Ombasan is what my people say as things are lifted by the wind to be pulled towards the gazig. The great blue pool means to allow to trust within oneself to do so. Once again, here on Earth's floor of Turtle Island, it is not so simple. But to be as a cloud, to be an endeavour, requires more than comfortability to shift and change when the world gets turned on its head. Endeavour. Though it seems requires you to find comfort amongst the strong winds that you are unable to control. To be able to see or find a patch of the great blue pool inside, and at times, a chaotic weathered storm. Thank you.
Yes, Sarah, yes! A million times yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodness gracious, what a way to kick us off. Every time I feel like I'm going to cry just a little bit harder at the end of every one of these. My heart is full. Thank you. All right. Now, as we scooch, we find our place. Please file in and grab a chair, grab a spot. I did you a disservice when I first introduced you to the space because I forgot to tell you about something real vital. We have a bathroom. That's not true. We have a bathroom and the material between us, if you need to take your space, if you need to breathe. I told our poets this at the beginning, but I forgot to tell you, and that's a disservice. So I apologize. But The exit door, just back there. If you need air, go take air. We got an exit door back here too. Just gotta unlock it, go on out, we got a space for you. Also, accompanied with that, Michelle and I are here to talk at the end of the session if you need. Michelle is available to talk to you at this moment just in the front. If you need a space, if you need an ear, feel free to take it. Right? This is our community space. Now, thank you one more time. Say it. That was so Dee recommended you to me, and I was so happy that you did. I was so happy. Oh, yes. Now, our next poet up, I gotta tell a story about this because I had the greatest last year. I had the opportunity to teach a drama class. I trained as an actor for years and years, my entire life, and ended up a drama teacher. Now, when I was there, a teacher at the school I was teaching at decided to hold a slam poetry night for the students. And some of the work that came out of there blew me away so hard that I thought, no way can this be a first time event. They gotta do this all the time at the school. This has to be a regular thing. No. This teacher, with another teacher I will admit, but this teacher who spearheaded and organized this jazz is such a poet in his own right, and such a great person in his own right, that I was so lucky to meet him and beg him for this. I hounded him every time I taught at this school. Every time I came in as a TOC and was like, hey, is he here? Is he available? Hi! And I finally got him. Aiden, can you come up to the stand and share your words with us?
I'm all red. Thanks, Brandon. That's like the kindest and sweetest, most sincere introduction. Is this on?
It is on.
People hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's just get this right up in your face. It's about $24 we got you. A gentleman. Gentleman for you.
Thank you, Ben. That's quite an introduction. Thank you so much. Ben has just got such a great enthusiasm that, like, for teaching and just being in a space where oftentimes people just kind of drag themselves into rooms. It's so wonderful to have somebody that actually wants to be in there and teach. And so I love that about fresh new faces. So thanks, Ben. Thanks for coming in and really just bringing that energy into New West and everything else. Thank you for having me as well. It's wonderful also being in a room full of like younger people. This is, I guess, how long I've been reading in poetry. I'm kind of the older person in the room, which is this happens with time. But anyways, I'll read a couple poems. Chance encounter. If you should ever cross paths with a wounded poet in the wild, keep walking. Avoid eye contact. Don't offer to help. The poet will only want to read his wounded words to you from his wounded head. He will talk about the wounded world and how many wounded people there are in it. He will implore you to wake up and leave your ignorant cave behind. Even if the poet looks as though he survived Dresden, you'll offer him food or water. The wounded poet will only be fueled by this comparison. He will want to mine this victim state in order to write about it later. He will tell you he hasn't been taking his antidepressants because they get in the way of his writing, with the relationship he has with his wounds. At this point, the wounded poet may weep or wail to channel his inner wound. The best thing you can do is promise the wounded poet you'll buy his book of wounds. You'll make an appearance to his wounded launch, and then watch him whimper his way back into the forest of his wounded mind. Maybe the most honest poem I've ever written. These next two are funny, and the last one's sad. Well, this one's just sad because there's so many people like this. Although I apologize to any of you that own a truck and really identify with it. I was thinking of calling this poem Andrew Tate Energy, but then I was like, it's way too on the nose. This is called The Truck. Maybe it's inspired by Andrew Tate, I'm not sure. My friend bought a brand new truck and drove it to my place to show me. What do you think? He asked. It's big, I said. It looks like one truck ate another one, and this is the result. You could write a poem about it, he suggested. It was so wide, I couldn't imagine how I could fit it into a single poem. How many horses are inside? I asked. A lot, he said. I bet, I said. The world is burning, I said, as I kicked the front tire. I don't know if it can handle another one of these. I know, he said, admiring the chromed rims whose faces almost resembled swastikas. But I wanted it. I nodded as if I understood him, while the truck, flexing the entire time, grunted impatiently for its cowboy to open the gates, releasing its mechanical testosterone into the urban pastures of an unwitting thoroughfare. If I don't, one of my high school students know this too, that I just kind of go on tangents. And this is kind of what gets me through my day, a lot of gallows humor. So this last one, my partner really loves, like, there's this one book I remember her reading, she loves animals that have conversations with each other, but in a very kind of sarcastic way, so not like the Disney way, but like a really warped Disney way maybe. I don't know. Anyways, so this is called Pillow Talk, so it's kind of for my partner, and we have friends that play the game Wingspan, and I just love Wingspan because it's like all these birds, and I'm like, I don't know anything about animals. I'm like, okay, great, these are bird names, so I took these two birds that are having this conversation from that game. It's a good game. Pillow Talk. The yellow-rumped warbler had just finished making love to the black-crowned night heron. Oh, this is kind of like sexy. What people do, man, I don't know. Like kids, yeah. So anyway, so I come from like this repressed generation, so I just have to kind of throw that out there. Just wanted to be everybody. Make sure you're, watch out. Sex is coming. Sex is gonna happen here. So, Pillow Talk. The yellow-rumped warbler had just finished making love to the black-crowned night heron when she turned to him and asked, "Did you wear any protection? Like a helmet?" suggested the black-crowned night heron. "No, protection, clarified the yellow-rumped warbler, while the night heron lit up a tiny cigarette and rested it between his feet. "That's not how I fly," he modestly replied. "Well, that's a bad pun, right? Well, what if I get pregnant?" she queried. "We're technically different species, so that's next to impossible," the black-crowned night heron said. "I suppose," mused the yellow-rumped warbler. "Hey, do you ever watch porn?" she asked him. "Oh, like the David Attenborough stuff." "No," she said. "Have you ever watched humans mating?" "Never," he said. "Oh, it's wild," she fluttered. "Just wild." This last poem takes on a very serious tone. And I love how none of my funny poems ever get accepted for magazines. Everyone's like, these are way better. And of course, my sad poems do. This one is, I guess a lot of the mental health trigger warnings and everything else, and suicide. This one's called Icarus and Daedalus as Icarus. And this in many ways this kind of makes sense when you listen to it. "I'm a stupid man, Father. I wanted to write about you, but I didn't have the words, so I hit myself in the head with too many other men's fists to know the machinery of your final months. Father, I am a stupid man. When I am hypomanic, I want to be headless. This is not so much a confession as it is a calling. In Brazil, there's a fungus that hijacks the carpenter ant's mind, then programs it to climb a leaf stem and wait for death. Is depression our parasite? When silenced by pills still manages to set the house on fire. Father, I tell myself it's not our fault. We were fated, wearing wings soaked in kerosene, to walk into burning rooms." Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ben.
Really good, Hayden.
That was really, really good. Thank you. One more time. One more time. Oh my God. What, $24 will get you?
Put it in the drawer.
Okay. So. Okay. Thank you one more time, Aiden. We love people here. We love you here. And I'd love to welcome Marion up to our mic. So, give your love to Marion. Marion was a wonderful recommendation of our last poet, Ellie, who came here for the second series session. I'm so stoked. Your words are amazing. Let's so, let's share 'em.
A lot of my poetry just has to do with being queer and working class. Shout out mental illness. If you find it hard to hear through the mask, I sell these for $5. First one is called Cacophony of the House. Why the hell tell me what they think she thought she had thought? The thought she thought they had thought forms micro beads along the crests, forms crochet grid knots in her chest, second guessing what she knew best. The thought they thought she thought gets bound and caught in her throat. She starts to cough and to laugh and to distress. Why are my thoughts such a frustrating mess? This is called mind control. I used to believe in mind control, an invisible battle for my soul. A struggle, a wretch, I lose my breath. Who can see me struggle with this predicament? I have to laugh, it's all in my head. My body jerks with a reaction. Is that really what I said? Is that what I really think? Can you see my thoughts? Or do they just stink and you're smelling a burning brush fire? Shout out service industry. This one's called A Midnight 12 Top. Like a waitress who has lost her balance, I buckle at the knees from the weight of carrying too many plates. There is a history in these shoulders. Not one I've heard, but instinctively know, like an old song in the throat from my forgotten foremothers. I'm speaking with them now. One says resist, and another persevere, and another says learn to fight with your fists, you might need it this year. And above all, they say in unison, above all remain dear, and I cannot let them down. So I pick up the plates and I balance them again. There's such a history in these shoulders. This one goes out to Ben. It's called Associations. I found a shattered glass mirror and I squeezed the shards in my hands in hopes that a little blood on my reflection would help me piece it back together. Then I think about the peanuts and peanut butter. How, under a little pressure, they break down individually under the weight of the machine. How it smooths them into a coherent mess. And these days, I find myself spread thin and broken like glass and peanut butter, trying to become whole again.
This one goes out to Travis, who could not be here, because I haven't seen him in like 16 years. This one's called Growing Pains. I remember it was in the grocery store. I asked to see my mom's glasses and put them on for the first time, for the fun of it. Mom, I can see everything. Well, son, looks like we need to get you glasses. And I remember it was over a summer that I would wake up in the night with excruciating leg pain. My mom took me to the doctor. Well, son, looks like you've got growing pains. It hurts, but it stops eventually. And I remember the first time jumping off the big rock at the Plumledge River. My dad was beside me, advising me of the opportunities. Well, son, you gotta look out for the little windows along the rapids so you can see the bottom of where you're diving to. And it's been a few decades since these events took place, and as with any troubles, with time and perspective, I've been able to see with fleeting clarity. I've been able to acknowledge the danger signs. But the doctor was dead wrong about the growing pains. I have one more. I wrote this one for this space. Sorry. I just forgot how it starts.
Yeah.
The light bulb in the lamp by my bedside table has just burnt out, and it gave me the idea for this poem because the little electric cry it let out just beforehand was its only chance to say goodbye. And so too will this poem burn upon reading. Vulnerability is a tough choice. Streetlights burn out every 6 to 7 years, and some comets only appear in the sky once in a lifetime. I want to be lost as light is lost as light. I don't want to be scared of the dark anymore. To call upon the ancestral protections of Virginia every time I see the flashing lights of cop cars. And to cast down my eyes every time I walk by a stranger on the streets, lest they be cruel. And to say to the sun and the moon and the stars, sorry. Could we reschedule? I want to feel what warmth of heart against heart feels like again. I want to be able to be free from light pollution and from warped infrastructure, from ironies and from deceits, to the freedom to imagine hope and dream. But for now, I'll change this light bulb, the lamp, by my bedside table and stop announcing my departure because I'm still here. I'd like to end this poem with a few words from the French poet Marianne Jean, whom I take my namesake. Mm-hmm. We huddle for warmth around the lamps of resistance while they dump out our oil in the streets to turn. With slicks so thick with the stink of injustice, it would only take a small spark.
Oh.
You're all so cool. You're all so freaking cool. Oh. Merci, Marion. Merci pour ça. Can I, I feel like I can. Marion and Alex sent me an email separate from each other submitting to this night to read their words and spit their fire. And so they asked independently to be here, and I received an email saying, can I go after her? They know each other somehow, and I'm so excited to welcome you up now. Alex, come on up.
Thank you. Yes, I realize I am very short in this.
Excited.
You can turn it up
Okay, turn it up.
and then adjust.
Oui, comme ça.
Sure, this way. Perfect.
Right?
Yes,
Mike.
thank you. All right. I'm Alex. I am an artist and writer, performer. I was born in Mexico, but live here in Vancouver. And I just want to thank my lovely friends and family for making it here tonight. Woo! Thank you for sharing this special moment with me. I'm a barista, so this first one is called Ode to Black Coffee. Also, I take dramatic pauses, so when I step away, that's when I'm done. Little neon red cherry holds a secret in its core, slow and patient to grow, like you and me. Meticulously excavated, washed, and roasted into the most romantic shade of brown, double rainbows of warm hazelnut and spiced marmalade, though inherently bitter, dark, rugged, vicious, often misjudged, often watered down, sometimes left unfinished. It's the perfect gift in its endless, imperfect forms. This one is about an issue I am currently working through. It's called control. Please take off your shoes when you come in. There are slippers in the closet. If you wouldn't mind washing your hands first and using the towel on the left. The other left. Pardon the mess, I never have enough time. Checklists only do half the job. Let me pour the wine and lay the coasters and prepare the appetizers, and don't move that vase. Those flowers get more sun on that angle, specifically the flower in the front. I drop the platter, and it spills on the floor. It's on the floor, the floor, help me, it's on the clean tile. Tile I just swept and mopped and polished and was so careful to... Oh, you're going already? Remember, the slippers go back in the closet. Mini quiches and olives and crackers and dip, all drippy and crumbly and everywhere, and fingerprints on the porcelain vase, the bath towel crooked, all of it ruined. Pardon the mess. I never have enough time. This one is dedicated to my grandfather. It's called Vuelo. I lost my first baby tooth the last time I crept up the old staircase with saturated portraits of graduations, tennis matches, and trips to Teotihuacan, all crookedly stationed on the wall. The cozy scent of cigarette smoke slowly staining the curtains draws me closer to him. The door, oh, the door, tall and wooden, scratched up to its marrow by the hungry claws of a curious, floppy-eared certain someone. He steps out of his room in a cloud, towering, squinty-eyed. Frodo calls for Gandalf behind him for the 100th time. He strains a big wrinkly grin beaming like fuggy summer sun. Vapor echoes his ghostly stride down the staircase. The handrails wobble dangerously, screws sticking out of the base. Ashtrays are scattered at random, though utilized systematically. Before lighting another in his study, before succumbing to the cancer, his husky, gravely voice says those playful words that prosper in my memory that I still seek the courage to say out loud. This one is about a group of Mexicans crossing to the US border. It's called Brave Ones. A long, running, murky strip divides us and them. River of death or salvation. Day in and day out, we're huddled together. Those hawk eyes are locked and loaded, surveying our alien movement. There is always a brave one who throws themselves into the graveyard of former brothers and sisters, of previous brave ones. We swallow our quiet cries, for the brass is already through him. Splashed with maroon we watch, a gaping mouth, bowling ball eyes wide, as he sinks like a warship in the middle of the river, Red River haunted. His shoes, his canteen, they float, they drift, heretic bravado to test those hawks. In death, his angelic afterimage guides us. We may fall, but we will cross to the land of the free. This one is about a really long, bad dream I had many years ago. It sits with you. It's called Trapped in a House. There was nothing I could do but sit in silence, in the discomfort, in the dry tears, in the living room. Someone say anything before I scour each drawer and cabinet for a cure to release me from myself, from the same old setting, the same old games. But there was nothing I could do except sit on the bad ideas and the good ideas. I watch birds fly by, the trees change color behind white curtains, collecting dust, collecting an arsenal of thoughts. The world turns slowly forever. I am an eroding statue that wonders what it must feel like to be alive. Someone say anything before I scour each drawer and cabinet for a cure to release me from myself, from the same old setting, the same old games. But there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do but sit in silence. This last one is dedicated to my grandmother. It's called Mamor. I feel her in the songs that give me goosebumps, in my most precious belongings, by the window where my old concert tickets saturate within the flame of a dying candle. I feel her in the photographs of my scrapbook, in the sudden gust of wind on my face, on top of a hill that oversees the ocean, in the song of wind chimes at dusk, but mostly in that distinct scent of her old creaky wooden staircase. The dusky oak pillars define my image of her. It comes and goes. Her unfathomable presence is the reminder that I am the little girl with curly hair, outside with her under the blue sky. She remains the brightest and prettiest sunflower when I long to grow and blossom into. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. Now, before we have our final poet step to the stage, I just want to remind you, if you love the words that were spoken tonight, please support these poets. in any way, shape, or form, but in particular, monetarily, if you can. Money makes the world go round, as much as I hate to say that, and it really shouldn't. Now, you can donate through the gallery's website. We got a little donation button, don't even worry about it. Easy, okay, peasy. Just write the name of the poet you wish to support, and we will send it right to them. They get 100% of the proceeds. 100%. We also have some mini books on sale. $5 a book over there. We got a new book coming out. Keep an eye out for that. And there will be books in the future, so follow them. Do their social media. Do their personal media. Reach out if you loved it. Say hi. So our second last poet of the night. Michaela, can I get you up? Our second last poet of the night.
Sorry, I'm just gonna take a second to kind of.
Take your time. It's okay.
I've never actually shared my poetry in person before. I write just as a hobby, and I actually just finished my first CBT group therapy for social anxiety. So this is a scary thing for me. So I'm sorry if my voice shakes. I guess this is good exposure therapy for me. So I'm kind of using that, and I hope that you can take away a line or and a cool image. But yeah, I have 6 poems I want to share with you, and I'll just give a bit of a description and then give the title. So my first one, I just want you to imagine a clear, starry night, and it's called A Star-Filled Sky. I'm just going to take a couple breaths. Sorry.
Let me adjust this for you.
Maybe I'll just grab some water.
Take a second, folks. Enjoy the space. Grab a coffee and eat. Bathrooms back there. Fresh air's over there. Stretch. Have a good stretch. Yeah. Some of y'all have been sitting on the floor for.
Okay. So a star-filled sky. We were waves before flesh, free-flowing narratives. We held purpose in surrounding galaxies, tumbling through space. We were misplaced stars, landing on this planet Earth. My dear, we are the alien species we've been searching for. Our ancestors born from the same stars we sleep under. And maybe this is why we reach for the night sky when we get lonely. This next one is about intimacy and connection and just 2 souls coming together as one. It doesn't have a title. And this one goes, how the earth shakes when we breathe fire among thinly spread cotton. Our skeletons grasping familiar flesh. We are freestanding mountains molded together, the surrounding universe dissolving. In this space, nothing matters except for the oxygen we steal from each other, recycling the warm air around us. We are the selves we think we are and aspire to be. We are yesterday and tomorrow, intertwined desire, singular being. This one is kind of like an imagery one. It's just about how I believe everything serves a purpose, from the smallest organism to the biggest predator, and everything in the universe is constantly being recycled, and living a simple life and knowing the role we play on Earth is more important than anything else, and life is complicated, but we make it a lot harder than it needs to be. And I was inspired when watching the rain hit my window and kind of water droplets falling down or sliding down slowly. So it goes, this one's also entitled, and remember, you were always here, stardust and broken atoms may be, yet you are nascent from the beginning. For eternity you will be present, consciousness, Mother Earth birth. This is what sets you apart. Even impregnated raindrops cannot shift the power surge, yet unreservedly serve their creator, nimbly plunging back to earth. This next one is about how people can be in a relationship, living, sleeping, eating together, but still be emotionally apart or distanced. And this one is called Where Are You Now? A shadow falls across me where your skin should be touching. I'm left shivering from a wind that blows between a space where two people loved each other. Each year is getting colder as this gap grows wider. Loneliness absorbs me. You manifest on the sofa, and I can't remember the last time our faces pressed together, where our cheekbones touched and Legos weren't the only rough edges that connected. I'd like to feel your heart beat through my body as we're stacked like haystacks in a field of silence, but instead we've become the quiet that drifts apart. I wish I'd asked where you were going, because right now I feel directionless without you. Thank you. This next one touches on my papa's dementia and how sometimes it's just easier to go with it than fight it in relation to the mixed up memories, at least in my experience. Okay, and it's called Tending My Papa's Garden. He says his tomatoes need watering, that his raspberries are just about ready to pick. I tell him, let's wait, it's about to rain today anyway, we'll go out tomorrow. He doesn't know that his garden is no longer, now sitting somewhere under new foundation at his childhood house, miles away. While he sits in a lonely room, seeing shadows dance across the wooden flooring. Tomorrow we'll paint over those dreadful knots that twist and turn throughout the resin. We go to the dollar store where he checks every aisle. He stacks up 12 boxes of cookies to bring with him. Back in his room, sitting at the table, he tells me how he still practices tennis daily. I nod in agreement, even though his mobility is questionable. Our games of backgammon can go on for hours. His conversation veering to who's living below him and how he's convinced that they've been spying through his window. I try my best to reassure him. It's time to go, and I tell him, "Good night, Papa, I'll see you tomorrow." And when I show up the next day, he proclaims, "Who might you be again?" And thus another day goes similar to last, where I'll hold onto memories for the both of us. And this is my final poem. It's inspired by how light interacts with water, specifically the ocean, and these two contrasts that just come together so nicely. And it's called Sun Rays. There's something about sun rays, fingertips piercing ocean waves, reaching into inky darkness, chasing yet not fully catching, illuminating glittering beams, pursuers of hidden space, champions of hide and seek, seekers because light is an optimist, always dreaming of secret places.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you. Okay. We've gotten the reminders through that I should have gotten at the beginning of the session. We are now ready for our final planned poet of the night. Thank you for being here. Sid, can I get you up on stage?
Hi, I'm Sid. I'm kind of losing my shit. It's so funny because I went to New West Secondary for 1 month and I met Hayden or Mr. Chafe,
Lord save us.
and he inspired me to write some poetry. And I'm reading some of the poems from that collection, also just some other newer stuff. This is the first one. The boy is driven by his fear of God, a constant battle with the higher power. As he sat within the church's chapel, he feels dirty. He feels as though pitch black ink is spilling from his body, dripping down the church pedestals. He wondered how one could possibly feel pure and cleansed in a place of worship when guilt consumes him fully. Like a drowning animal fighting for air. Does being in love feel as though you're on fire? Because the yearning felt as if his heart would hit the ground. He reached towards the boy with the jet black hair, the sunken eyes. With the boy close beside him, he felt immortal. He felt like Zeus himself, one who ruled the sky and sent thunder raging down. But guilt clawed at him like a cruel animal, an animal he was locked in a room with. If he could change the way he is, he would. It shouldn't be a sin to love him. This one is called An Oasis in a Land of Desolation. So my poems are really short, so just like, I just realized that. So just like, yeah. His memories felt like an empty room with empty walls, poison soaked through with mediocrity. His memories felt like raw desire, sacred and intimate, overflowing with overdue promises. His memories felt like a knife, the way it burned, harsh flames that burned to the touch. His heart still beat to the burn.
Yeah.
You're my favorite. I really like this one. You bastard. Because of you, nostalgia tastes like bruised chins and bloodied elbows, leftovers from the diner, an intimately shared cigarette. Father, we have been buried beneath the lake, submerged into the aching cold. Father, we are too young, too unloved to be saved. Save these violent delights. Pull them from the ruins again and again. Isn't it true that all poets are slightly mad? Mad for the intimacy, within the words, the tenderness. The poet rips the side of the sink, the blood still vivid against his pale skin. He scrubs until he feels numb to the bone, mistaking the feeling for being submerged into an ice lake. Memory, sharp as a thin blade. It's clean now. Radio silence, a haunting and quiet manifestation, unwinds slowly. A highway of sentimentality, a reverie of a dying medium. One trembling little sigh, one long gaze over, unleashes an ache of yearning that runs raw to the bone. The tranquility runs so deep it was almost tangible, a beautiful kind of haunting, quiet yet deafening. Do me a favor, sit very still, gaze deliberately through the lens, the mundaneness of this world, fragmented mirages, people in motion, The momentarily suspended existence becomes both a glory and exhilaration to witness. Okay, this is my second last one. He cannot tell this story. Miles of abstraction, he felt trapped in a cage, but to him it must have been mistaken for glory, or the sweet taste of rage. He was a poet, after all, an unfinished allegory. The trick was to break down the wall at the border of insanity. Art was his violent delight. Looking at everything in such a technical eye, but oh, how art ignites. In a way, art was his god, yet he cannot stop trembling. The end is nigh. Okay, last one. This is called A Requiem for Summer's End. The collapse of tenderness brings an open manifestation of complexity, a lingering, and a violent taste for order. I challenge you to humanize the unhuman, to escape the ballade, slip away into the unforeseen, veiled in a sacred refuge. For time cannot burn these thoughts into non-existence. A deep calmness is reborn. I made some little zines. I made them over the summer. They're very small. It doesn't have poetry, unfortunately, but it does talk about some of my thoughts on the world and whatnot. And I have very few, but so you can find me after this. It's $5 or pay what you can. I really don't mind. And if after today you change your mind and you still want one, just find me on my Instagram. It's Sid Bong, and I'll ship it to you for free.
Zines! Yes! We need more zines! Oh gosh, it's a lost art, so it's a lost art. So, friends, there we did it. We did it! We did it! That brings us to the end of our planned set, the end of our planned poets for the night. And now we do something new and frightening. This is an open mic. This is a microphone for anyone wanting to share. Anyone who may have something they want to bring out. Music, your words, your speech. We're going to take 5. We're going to take 5 minutes on our clock so you can steal your souls and steal yourself. And then the rest of our time tonight is devoted to this. But thank you very much for coming and being with us. Thank you so much. We hope to see you again. If you want to read at one of these, now that you know that it's not too scary, that I'm going to mess up way more than any of you could ever possibly mess up, then email us. Contact the gallery, contact Michelle, or I personally, and we'll get you here. And we'll give you some words and we'll give you a space. Thank you once again for being here tonight. 5 minutes, and then we're back here. Take a break, go get some air, go to the bathroom, clear the head, fix the hair. Here we go.
Thank you.
That's fair.
We're trying to get them down.
Well, not here. I've done it at like music places, but I'm like the only person ever. It's really nice. I like it.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted to say hi,
No, that's not. I think before COVID.
Yeah.
Because the commissioner was open.
Okay,
So I know there's a
yeah. I see. That makes sense. Okay. Cool.
So I was like, oh, I wish you were here.
Yeah, for sure. There's like a vegan, it's a vegan restaurant. It's a musician.
That's the same on Queen's
Well, I don't sing, but I write. Can I share? And so I was the one person, I was one place that would just say my poetry. A month, yeah, I was like, hi, I don't sing, but I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'd be there, and I'd be like reading, and then they'd be like, okay, bye. But then it was mostly men, like older men, and I went and I did it there as well, but it was like dads, like a lot of dads.
Oh, okay.
Older guys who were kind of like, okay, sure. It was interesting, for sure. I was like, that was this year. Yeah. I should. That was interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of old white guys staring at me like, what are you saying? And I remember, and I had a moment of standing there with my paper and looking at like this is not so proud, but I should. I'm like standing
I should. But I think it works. Since had the mind story, I think it would work. It would. Have to act it out. No, I agree. That's so funny.
Pre-workout, baby. Why go?
They're all body work. I don't necessarily. I'll support you. I fully influenced my cat.
Hang out here for
Now that I'm part of like the group.
No, it's my first time. Yeah, my partner was like everyone has we were talking about the new water.
That's where we fired.
But I wrote my whole poem. I'll see you there with Valentine's. I don't know what you apply to. Is it aesthetic or?
I decided to just do
Like, do I need to write a love poem I have one sort of love song.
to the camera.
Oh, but then it just gets a little weird. Yeah, I feel like that went a different direction.
Spicy parts? Yeah.
But either way, it'll be fun and we'll have a great time. I've been trying to tell everybody.
I'm the expert.
Yeah, I got all my heart print sweaters and stuff that I've been saving. Yes.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming out. You have a good one. Catch you soon.
You are a cheese.
Okay, so I'm back.
Do it.
I have
Do it. Stick it to it. You didn't do anything. We went to the gym.
We were talking about like metal.
I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to do instead of doing something I wanted. But I also wanted to come back and see stuff and do those things. So
My ears are burning.
I have no idea. But
Okay, faucets?
I was just saying that I did things I wanted to do and I wanted to go here and I wanted to see you. So. And I went to the gym with friends. Actually, became a friend for the day. It's not like I got my work done kind of day.
honestly,
So sorry.
A little bit of self-care usually helps with harmony. I'm opening a gym done later, so you can go to
You want to gym yet? You would.
Well, that's in my building. Well, I also, and if it's close by,
yeah, and how
our building.
I was my dad's
Yeah, great.
my dad's like
Long cold hair and orange bar I think it was board game night where we met. Oh, you're just familiar. I've met before. Yeah. Yeah. Haley.
we went when you're this one time
And then board games. Okay. I'm so bad with it.
Rather than
Are you 7 hearts? Fuck me. I love it. You know? Because your heart is spicy enough.
I put cinnamon hearts, but fireball. Absolutely.
Fireball tastes like 7 hearts.
I'm willing to deal with fireball cinnamon twist that works actually. And sorry, I don't remember. There's like a
It tastes like fireball. I'm not gonna get back out of this. You also have an eyelash shirt. Yes. Nope, this side. This side. I'm not gonna miss this time. Got it? I don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be a
Should have had a cinnamon heart.
in Germany at bars you can get a shot of peppermint schnapps and it's called a of course in Germany you're going to be having all of the beer. You don't want to hook up on you guys. Yeah, so you have to have peppermint schnapps.
Yeah, please stop it.
I don't know if anybody else
Yeah.
I'd like to go up to
That was,
Hello, we are about to get this started. Please come into the...
We are in Zoom.
Yes, you are. Bonjour tout le monde.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pour all over myself, and I know it's gonna end up just covering me. That's something in the night. Welcome back, friends. I hope you got a chance to chat, buy something from your local poets, get some lovely coffee and water and joy, take a breath of fresh air, go pee, do all that kind of jazz. This is the portion of the night, this is kind of a test fire. This is something new, something different. If you have something to say or something to speak, this mic is open to you. We officially close our doors at 9:30, so we got an hour and 10 to kill.
Nice.
We have plenty of time. Take it. Please don't leave it. And without further ado, I step away. I will just come and go as it happens and sees, but the room is yours. The room is yours. You want to start us off?
Okay, I'm getting peer pressured into this. Hello, friends. My name is Stephanie. This is a little piece I wrote a couple years ago. It's a little bit of a parody of a more popular poetry piece.
Yeah.
But some of you might be able to relate. Just to show of hands, how many people are in post-secondary right now? Okay, so a few of us. As some of you guys might know, reading week usually comes around mid-February, and it's always one of the hardest times of the year. Burnout is the highest. You add that on top of, like, you know, the months of shorter daylight and then the increased workload. So yeah, a lot of us are feeling that right now. So this is a piece I wrote in lieu of reading week. 'Twas the week before reading week, and all through the classes, the students were sleep deprived and feeling like dumbasses. The Red Bull was flowing and the coffee was hot. The feeling of rest was something long forgot. The homework was piling, the midterms were long, the eye bags were heavy, and the sleep deprivation was strong. They longed for the day all of this would be over. It was a hard enough feat just trying to stay sober. So keep working hard. You'll overcome these woes. You'll ace all your classes. At least that's how this fairy tale goes.
Oh.
Thank you guys.
Oh my gosh. The mic is open. Oh yeah.
Hello. My name is Nathan, and I have a complicated relationship with poetry. Long story short is in 9th grade, I entered a poetry contest. I lost real bad, and that kind of set me on a strange path. So now, I only write poetry when I'm emotionally overwhelmed, and it just kind of comes out. I don't rehearse it, I don't even really store it too much, but I loosely have some of it because it needs to come out. So I have 4 little ones here, and we'll see if I can read today. That'll be the big one. Okay. This one is called Claws. How is it possible that you still have your claws embedded in my brain? Why is it still your face I see when I am overcome with pain? Are you the reason I can only express myself when I am hurt? Is this why I am constantly dragging myself through the dirt? We haven't spoken in years, and yet you are the root of all my fears. I subconsciously decided to be a better man, solely to throw a wrench in your cruel plan. Though it really makes me think, how far can I run before reaching the brink? Did I deserve the damage you inflicted? Why do I feel like I was addicted? Could I have really been so wicked? I don't blame you alone. This one is called The Paths We Choose. It's in a song, or maybe a wink. Something wrong, something that makes me think. Thoughts metamorphose into memories. The poison you fed me long ago, dormant and in waiting to be stirred up, once again courses through my blood. The taste of smoke rolls over the tongue and escapes over eyes dilated with fear, the kind of fear I crave. The fear of who I am on the inside. I feel the pain you inflicted on me, the pain I asked for. We were in perfect, destructive harmony. With every memory of you, I move further away from heaven and closer to home. The stars you left me start to burn as I wonder if I will ever learn. Oh, the paths we choose on the journey to self-destruction. This one is called One of Those Days. It is one of those days, the days you choose to push love away, the kind that lets despair have a say. One of those days, the world is draped in gray. It's one of those nights, the nights that blur wrong and right, the kind that drains you of your fight, one of those nights that snuffs your light. It's one of those weeks, the weeks that you cannot find what you seek, the kind that makes your knees weak, one of those weeks that makes things bleak. It's one of those seasons, the seasons that obscure all reason, the kind that cause inner treason, one of those seasons with the cold you freeze in. It's just one of those years, the years that bring you to tears, the kind that realizes all of your fears, one of those years where the pain won't disappear. It's just one of those lives, the kind that's gone too soon. And on a lighter note, this is called The Void. I stare longingly into the void. The void no longer stares back. In the place of the usual emptiness, there is but a single sign. The sign reads, "Out to lunch." Just my luck. I call into the void. I cry and I scream. I shout and I cuss. I beg and I demand. The void calls back, "Go away!" Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, it's still open. No? Okay, I'll do one. Buried in my notes is this poem. Here we go.
So this one I wrote at a poetry reading by the wonderful Fanny Kearse. Some knowledge, some background knowledge about Fanny. Fanny is one of the first poets we reached out to when we did the Poetry Floodlight series. She is so giving and wonderful, and my gosh, if you can ever see her perform, it is a blessing thrice over. We ended up at Fanny's reading not knowing that this was also a proposal. So in the audience is her beloved friends and family and her close people and us. Second to front row, crying and weeping over her wonderful words. And then the proposal happens. And I am furiously, tears bawling from my face, typing on my poem this piece as Fanny becomes a fiancé. It's a happy poem.
Yay.
It's It's also a poopy poem. It's called Floating. I grew up far away from the ocean. I was more familiar with the pen than the pole when it came to tide. And I, ride or die, could fly when it came to spot removal. But I had a lake, and damn, I swam. Here there be dragons more like leeches. And when I say I swam, I mean I float. But hell, do I float? Shit, do I float like a log in a toilet? I gloat as I trail circles around that toilet bowl of a lake. But damned, floating is tiring. Like, bros, are you hiring? I need a job. And the mic becomes open once more.
Yeah.
Yeah! You're fun to hear this.
Yeah, of course. What's up? How's everybody doing? So, full disclosure, I would not consider myself a poet, per se. I would consider myself a musician and a bit of a rapper. So if you guys will indulge me, I figured I could give something. But so the thing is, I usually do have, you know, music or a backing instrumentation. So I was thinking maybe if you guys are down, if you could, we'll just keep it simple, just a simple beat. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yo, caught in a tornado, I don't think that I'm in Kansas. Didn't plan his face planting as I'm dancing on the canvas. Well, I'm covered in pain, I won't recover for days. I'ma keep on working till I'm smothered in praise, and then I won't breathe. People staring at me, but I don't speak. See it in my eyes, I haven't slept in a week. You expect me to be something clearly unattainable. Keep your head down, cause it's best not to complain at all. Better to just blame it all on something you don't understand. Stepping on your neck, they expect to get the upper hand. Other than a couple moments, I don't see no clarity. Even when I do, I'm staring at it and it's staring me. My lungs hurt, I can barely breathe. The drugs are not impairing me. Looking in the mirror now, he's asking why I dare to dream. Apparently, special powers coming with some cheat codes. Staring at the eyes, but I expect he'll probably beat those. Saying something crazy just to get a damn reaction. Started taking action, but I felt no satisfaction. Smack you in the face if I ever catch you tapping. Jumping in the pool, look, I'm about to do a backflip. I can't swim, so I guess I'll probably drown as all these people gather around. And now I'm looking for the frown on the face, but they say everything is okay. So I guess that I'm the only one still making these mistakes. If I make it through the day, then I'll probably be fine. Feel my desk chair break as I'm trying to recline. I'm falling on my back, I've derailed from the track. But no, there's nothing wrong with me, why'd you even ask? Why I gotta act like I actually care about the things that are in front of me? I'm floating in the air. I plan to keep you wondering about what is prepared. It seems I'm only good at speaking with a kick and a snare. That's my poetry,
You were hiding in the audience this whole dang time! Oh,
Thank you.
Alright. Our mic remains open. Yes. Alright. We are going to cannibalize a stool from the audience. Just beside jam, strong ground. Sorry. So yeah.
What's that?
Lyrics or
What about
lyrics less?
Oh, there are lyrics, but I'm afraid of that.
Yeah. I feel that.
Tonight was the first night performing poetry and accordion and ballets, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you know the words, join in. will the rest of my life so long. Here's my wife and family. What if I die here? Who'll be my role model? Now that my role model is gone, she's gone. She's stuck back down the alley with some roly-poly little black-faced girl. All along, there were incidents and accidents. There were hints and delegations. And if you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long-lost pal. Man walks down the street and says, why am I short little skin and oh, my nights are so long. What if I die here? I don't remember the next part. She's stuck back in the alley with some roly-poly little black-faced girl. All alone, there were incidents and accidents, there were hints and allegations. And if you keep my bodyguard, I can be your long-lost pal. And I can call you buddy, and when you call me, you can call me out. Call me out. Man walks down the streets of a strange world. Maybe it's the third world. Maybe it's his first time around to speak the language. He holds no currency. He is a foreign man. He is surrounded by the sound of cattle in the marketplace, scatterlings and orphanages. He looks around. He sees angels in the architecture. Spinning in infinity, he says, amen and hallelujah. If you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long lost pal. And I can call you Billy, and Billy, when you call me, you can call me out. And I can be your bodyguard, if you will be my long lost pal. And I can call you Billy, and Billy, when you call me, you can call me out. You're too kind.
So good!
This next one is an original. Let's see. It was written on a gray day like today, last November, and it's called East Van Requiem.
so beautiful.
Heck yeah.
This next one is by the incomparable Joanna Newsom, who inspires a lot of my poetry. I'm gonna start that again.
Yeah.
Music in the store, I'm sensitive boy. I see markedly more, and I'm losing supplies. But it's late in the day, and you're well on your way. What is golden is gray, and I'm suddenly shy. And the gathering floozies afford to be choosy, and all seems in dark in the dimming divine. I have read the right books to interpret your looks. You were knocking me down with the palm of your eye. Oh, na 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 na. This is all like a story that was written to me. It was riding my back when it used to ride me, and we were galloping manic to the mouth of the source, swallowing panic in the face of its force. And I am blue, and I'm love. Made me go like a horse, and now it's done. Watch it go, you've changed so low. Water melting from the snow, and am I so dear? Do I run rare? Peach plum pear, peach plum.
Oh! Wow!
That was amazing.
Okay.
What a treat! Oh my goodness. Like, this is just one thing after the next.
I know!
Yeah.
This is amazing! You're all so cool!
Back at you.
Okay. So, with that being said, the mic is still here. I'm going to say, though, it's getting late in the evening. So, one last performer who is brilliant. I guess that entails you.
She drops
The phone drops, the performance goes. For that being said, when we skedaddle out of here, I know that it's become tradition. If you're inclined, we go over to Mood Swing, formerly Old Crow Coffee, but now newly christened Mood Swing Bar. They offer a wide variety of alcoholic and non-alcoholic cocktails and are some of the loveliest staff I've encountered. So, if you are all inclined after our final performer to come out with us, come on out. We'd love to see you. So, final person who would like to step up?
Is there one?
Yes. I see people looking at phones.
So I'm
I'll go. Has anyone or everyone here heard of Lisa Lamb?
Yes.
Yes, probably some people know the name. Other people probably know the story. So a young girl from Vancouver years ago, I think it was 2013, went on a solo trip to Los Angeles and then went missing. And a few weeks later, trigger warning, violent, dark story, they found her on the top of her hotel in a water tank. Starting to ring a bell. That story always kind of stuck with me for the mystery and all the like what happened to her. Nobody knows to this day how she got up there. It's all really weird. And so I myself am also a bit of a musician. I wouldn't call myself a poet. I guess it is kind of poetry, but I wrote a poem about her a few years ago that became a song. And this is that poem. It's called Blue Rose. The blue rose was plucked too early, and strangers were struck by the beauty. On thunder and in raindrops, she rides on every ocean wave. I hear her in the seabirds, or the wind in the trees around her grave. Like smoke, I see her clearly, but when I reach for her, there's nothing there. The blue rose was plucked too early, and I'm struck by the beauty. Thank you. Oh, I'm Zach.
Zach, we're getting you next time.
Bring your music.
Yeah, we accept music, as you can see. So, folks, that will conclude our time together tonight. Welcome and thank you. Goodbye. Thank you. Or I shouldn't say goodbye. I should see, and then say, until next time. This has been the Poetry Floodlight Series 3. Tune back in next month for Series 4. Same time, same place, different day. Normally we're on the 11th. Next month we are on the 8th.
Is it still Saturday? No, March 11th. March 11th.
Same time, same place, same day. Thank you once again. We are headed off to Mood Swing. Mingle while you want. Chat with people you loved. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Yeah, every piece is amazing. No.